Welcome to the fourth interview of marketing-interview.com. Today we have Daniele Meoni as our guest. He's Global Head of Promotions and Marketing Campaigns at Zooplus. Zooplus is Europe's leading online pet supplier, serving over 9 million customers annually. Welcome, Daniele. How are you doing?
I'm good, Noah. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome, of course. So, Daniele, why did you decide to go into sales and marketing, and how did all of it start?
Yeah, that's a good question to break the ice and to start. I guess you can say it was a bit by chance that I ended up there because basically it was my first full-time job after my master. It was in sales, in B2B sales actually. So I just got that a little bit by chance. You know, when you graduated, you want to get a job, and the first thing that really appeals to you, you go to it and you dive into it. So I stayed there for a little over a year, and then actually I changed completely. I moved to a completely different business and functions. I was in the energy sector for a while, and I moved away from sales and marketing. So I moved more towards like product, digital IT, so a lot of completely different things. And then, I think towards the back end of 2021, so it was like, a bit over two years ago, I was offered a role in e-commerce as head of promotions. And it was something that, I never done before. I never worked in e-commerce, but it felt like it was a very good opportunity. I was really thrilled to really have this impact on like a big company, millions of customers, actually shipping proposal products and having this impact on P&L. And then I accepted, and I went straight into it. And one job later, now at Zooplus, I'm still in e-commerce, still doing a similar role. So I think it was a good choice in the end.
Well, it's great that you saw both sides of the coin, because I see marketing as sales as one big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Absolutely.
Sales is more on the executed side, but marketing lays all of the foreground, all of the things that the sales need. And what was that like? What type of sales job did you do before?
Oh, my first sales job was actually very tough because I was in B2B sales and I was in the construction business. It was basically for one of the leading companies in the world selling tools. And that was very tough. I mean, the learning curve was so steep, and I learned so much like very quickly because basically you end up like as a newbie, right? Having a catalog of, I think it was around 800 pages full of product, consumables, whatever. And you're trying to sell it and sell the use cases for those tools to people, to businesses, small business and medium and big businesses that have been doing that for 20, 30 years. So they're the experts, right? So they can teach you basically what you want to teach them. So it was a very, very interesting experience and very impactful, very tough at the beginning, but definitely learn a lot of things. And I think the most important thing that you learn there is actually to listen to people, right? Which is one of the skills that I think comes back in every stage at every point of your career.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And were you more like an appointment setter at first and then a closer? What type of role did you have at your sales job?
I was a key account manager. So basically I had a portfolio of customers there at that point. It was, I think, around probably between 100 and 150 customers across some territory in Italy. And was basically ranging from like this huge companies that make like highways to the small like company, like one person company that works on I don't know, some wooden equipment, right? Or some wooden things like that. So it was very, very diverse. A lot of different people. You really had to adjust to a lot of different styles. Family-run business to like a corporation with more than a few thousand employees, etc., etc. So it was very, very interesting, very intense, but very interesting, I would
say. Interesting. So what was your professional development like?
Yeah, I mean, as you can infer from what I mentioned before, I'm quite a generalist, I would say, right? So before starting to work, I come from a university background in business. I studied economics and then management, so pretty broad, I would say. And then the rest, I mean, like I cover pretty much, I think, a lot of different functions. We discussed about B2B sales, but then when I work in energy, I work in many different roles. I even touch base on jobs like customer experience, for instance, like designing customer journeys, which is still not sales and marketing, but very important to actually understand the customer, which at the end of the day
Definitely.
is the most important thing, right?
That's true.
And then I moved more towards like product management, digital IT delivery, etc., etc. But then I also cover roles like customer success, so a lot of different things. And before specializing into more to e-commerce and then promotion and marketing campaigns, etc., etc. So a lot of different things, but I think all those things I think come together, right? Especially when you work in a function like sales and marketing that is in between basically a lot of different functions in the business. So you need a lot of knowledge from different areas to make the things add up to each other, right?
Definitely, definitely. And what inspired you then to work as a head of marketing, or more to say, like as a head of promotions and marketing campaigns?
Yeah, well, I think above all is the idea of actually doing something that can really impact and affect customers, and to do that at scale, right? So that was one of the things that I was missing in my previous jobs when I was working on this. These very long projects, right? Like very big, very important projects, but they have like an execution timeline of probably, we're talking about years, right? It's like digital transformation. They have a big impact, but they always sit at the back end of the company. So you don't have like that interaction that you might have with customers like you have in e-commerce. So that was the reason why I chose. I wanted to really stay closer to the customer and really be able to shape and to create those let's say wow moment, right? When through a marketing campaign or through a discount or promotion, you really change the behavior of people, you influence the behavior of people, and you really engage them with creating content, designing a campaign, and that's really thrilling to me. That's really powerful, right? And the cycle of these things is really fast, right? You don't need to wait for a year or for 2 years to see the results. It's something that you do it today, you see the result tomorrow or even before, right? So also the fast pace that was really interesting, something I was missing before in my career.
I understand. And what helped you to grow the most in your role as global head of marketing or global head of promotions and campaigns?
Yeah, well, I think as I was saying earlier on, I think one of the key skills that I learned right at the beginning is actually to listen actively to people, and that's the most important thing to me, just to understand the needs of your stakeholders. What are their pain points? What do they want to achieve, right? Because it's all about the people in the role like that, right? From one side, you have the customer, where you really need to listen and to understand what the customer wants. But on the other side, you also have your internal stakeholders. And that's pretty much the same, right? Because sales and marketing is, at the end of the day, when you work for a central team, is a support function, right? So you're an enabler that need to help the company to grow and get their results. And these roles sit at the intersection of all the business department that you can think of. Like in e-commerce, for instance, I mean, like my department works with vendor management. Like they get like suppliers conditions. We work with obviously with marketing. We are in the middle. We work with logistics operation because we influence each other in terms of like how many products do I need to order to have them available in the shop. We work with finance, obviously, because budgets and everything. So you name it, we work with everyone, basically, right? And so it's very important to understand them because all these stakeholders have different goals, different opinions, and I think I like to say it's our role is just to make them match together and and drive the business forward.
And that's what I also love about marketing. It combines everything together, every piece of the business. If it's finances, right? You have to set the right offers. If it's even continuous offers, like reoccurring offers, if you have an abo model, right? If they have to pay again and again, you can set it on the website, and that's influencing the finance side. If you have like an offer that's selling more and you want to increase the average order value, you also put it on the website.
Of course.
So it
becomes very crowded very fast, yeah, when you think about it, when you want to do a lot of different things.
And also if it comes to research and development, because you have all the insights from your customers, you have the market research. I
The
mean,
product, I didn't mention the product part, UX, CX, and everything. You want to test new features. That's it, right? I mean, that needs to be like a very much close interaction, definitely.
and then on the other hand, you also have your competition. You also have to analyze
Of
your
course.
competition, set yourself apart. So actually, marketing is business as a whole, just communicated properly, right?
Yeah, it's all about communication. That's also why I think that sometimes in this sphere, being a generalist can actually help because you know a little bit of everything and you know how to move within the boundaries of an organization.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And especially if you're leading teams as big as yours, right? You have to understand each sector that you're leading
Yeah.
just so much that you can lead in a proper way, right?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's very people intense, obviously. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give your son if he wanted to follow the same path as you and just started from scratch, started from the beginning?
Yeah, well, I think that's a tough one, right? But I think to me, when I look back and everything, I think the most important thing that you need early on is to get some direction and to get some understanding, right? So a thing that I would recommend, like basically anyone, is just to get a mentor, like earlier on, like already when you are studying at university, because you need someone that can really help you to see things from a broader perspective, from a more senior perspective. Because when you are young, I think you don't really a lot of things. I mean, it's due to experience. You don't understand them, right? And you don't see them in the right way. And you need someone to hold your hand at the beginning and to actually help you to understand what you like, what you don't like, and to which direction you should go, right? And I think this is very powerful before starting your professional career, and obviously in the early days of your professional career, but always, I mean, like at any stage of your career, right? Because you really need that. I think the different perspective, and I mean, sometimes I remember when I had a mentors early stage of my career, a lot of times I was questioning the recommendation that they were giving me because of like, how can this make any sense, right? In my head, it was different. But then, you learn to trust them somehow. And I realized that maybe I was lucky, but in most of the cases, they were actually right. That's also a big recommendation I would give to anyone to get a mentor, like,
How did
wherever you can.
how did you find your mentor?
That's a good question. I think for me, I always found them like in work environment. I was lucky enough to have worked in big companies, right? When you have a lot of very senior people, a lot of very senior stakeholders that really know their things inside out. So I was always like scouting in different departments, though, right? Because I didn't want to get like someone in my really my area because I wanted to get a different perspective, right? Because otherwise, if you work in sales and you get a mentor in sales, you get very biased about what you want to do. You get very narrow. So I was trying to get like a broader picture, and then I think it's all about the chemistry because there needs to work right between the two of you. There needs to be trust. It needs to be a person where you can talk to that has like also in some sense like a similar structure of how you think and how they think, because in that case you can challenge each other, but it's a good relationship because you can talk about things without being afraid of being judged or anything, so you can be very open, and then those things can work both ways, and I think that's the best that really can enhance you.
I understand. I understand.
Mm.
So, if your son wanted to follow the same path as you, what
Mhm.
steps would he need to take to become successful?
Yeah. Besides that, I think the general advice would be always be curious, be inquisitive, get out of your comfort zone, and most of all, like talk to people, ask questions. Right? Always be the one to ask. Raise your hand. Don't be afraid, because at the end of the day, one of the most important things that you have out there when you build your career yourself is to have a good network, and the network is what will help you to grow, to get different perspective, to get different connection, to get also introduced to more people through your network, etc. So that's one of the things that on a human side I will definitely recommend. Get out there, just put yourself in the game, and of course, I mean, on the other side, keep learning. because the pace that the evolution and innovation is going nowadays, I don't think anyone, not even like a C-level people, they can afford to relax for a while, because things are evolving so fast right now. And you can really, really fast become obsolete. So that's the other thing.
So
keep expanding your knowledge. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. So you were talking about a good network. How can somebody get a good network if they are just starting out right now?
That's very interesting. I think obviously that there are different ways, right? I think first of all you need to be proactive, because even if you're just starting, most likely you will become from a school environment, from an education environment, or a university where you came across a lot of different people that will end up in many different sectors, in many different roles, etc. So that's already the very, very key moment where you start building what you call network. But in that case, at that point in time, they can be your friends, right? It's not just like on a professional level, but you're going to have like more like on a higher level human bonds. And that's actually the backbone, I think, the way that you can start. But also to the guys that I'm coaching and mentoring right now, I always encourage them to look up actively on LinkedIn and reach out to people, because I think that's one of the most important things, right? To see if you have an idea of where you want to be or who you want to become, look up at those people on LinkedIn and don't be afraid, send them a message and ask for a bit of their time. Because, the worst thing that can happen is that they don't answer you. But most of the times, I think people are very much available to actually help you out, because, talking to someone for half an hour, it doesn't cost much at the end of the day. We're all busy, but we all find time for these things, I think. And then there are a lot of like mentoring coaching association out there online that I think, like it's easy for people to get some support and start building that. Going to events as well helps as well on the territory. There are a lot of networking opportunities even out there. And, depends on where you live, obviously. Like in big cities, it's easier. But, in general, you have so many opportunities right now to put yourself out there, not even physically, but also remotely or online. You can really do it. And yeah, you just need to put yourself onto it, right? And it takes some time and dedication, I would say.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
When I was in university, we had some business club in university. And in the business club, we had one speech a week from somebody who was at the C-level at a higher company, or founder a bigger company, or founder of some type of company. And that was a nice moment for me to get myself out there and get to know these people, get to know their pains regarding marketing. So this is also what I could recommend to the audience out there who would like to meet new people and get their network going.
Yeah, absolutely. By all means, that's a great example, I think. And obviously, I think I would encourage everyone while they're doing university to take up internship and jobs, right? Because those really help you right away. I know, like country where I'm coming from, in Italy, we got more this theory to say, okay, when you study, just study, right? You figure out job afterwards. But I think that's quite wrong, right? Because then you end up, being a bit siloed, and then you graduate. Maybe you graduate very well, and maybe theoretically you're amazing, but then you put your head up and then say, now what? What do I do now, right? And you have no idea how the business works. So really, really start getting there at the early days, as soon as possible, honestly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What insights do you wish you had when you just started out?
Yeah, that's basically one of those, right? Because the key things, as I was just mentioning, is that I wish I had a better understanding of the business world right from when I was still at university. Because what I studied at the beginning, I started studying economics. Economics per se is a very theoretical a part of the business, very research focused and everything. So basically, while I was there, I got a lot of knowledge, but I didn't know how to put it in practice. So it really gave me very little preparation as to what to expect from the business world, right? And I remember when I got like my first little job there, it was like a very, very short experience, like a few months as a like responsible for like account payables or whatever in a small company there. And I remember the first day there where I sat down and I was like, okay, now I'm here. What do I need to do? Right. And it's not easy. I mean, it might seem trivial, right? But you can very get disoriented at the beginning. So I really think like for everyone, just try to get as close as possible to being practical, even through like concrete projects at university, and try to understand how the business world is working, because obviously there are many sectors, there are many industries, but at least to start having a fair idea of how a company, how business models are working, right? In general, like the big ones at least. How does a company make money? What are the key departments in a company? What do they do? And then you will start understanding where do you fit in, right? Because at the beginning I didn't know. That's why I also went in sales, because I was like, sales is more generic, so at least I can start from knowing my customer, knowing my company, and then just going around. But I think, really helps like if you get a solid understanding of that right at the beginning.
I understand.
Yeah.
Is there a moment in your career that you are particularly proud of?
Hey, well, that's I could think about many things. I will get more to maybe a more recent example. I think a very good moment there was when I joined the e-commerce and no, actually no, actually let's go a bit back in time. I think one of the things that really defined my career was actually my first job, right? Because when I was in B2B sales, working for Hilti in the construction sector, and it was very tough at the beginning, right? You think it's something that is not easy, it doesn't come for granted. Those customers are tough to convince to sell to. But then, after 1 year that I was there, I actually managed to receive an award there as the best rookie of the year, right? It's like they had this kind of award based on how much you were selling, how much you were contributing to the company. And that year, we got more than 300 people just in the region, and I managed to win, right? And you can think like it was not just like people at the first job experience. You got a lot of very, very seasoned sale people that just joined the company, right? So to me, was very important for my future growth, because it really gave me the self-confidence, I think, to face a lot of things afterwards, with the mentality to say, I know that if I put myself to the task, if I really, really work hard, I can actually do things. So I should not be afraid, right? And that is what always helped me to try to see what to get more responsibility and to get more things done. I was never afraid to do that, because it's okay. I might make mistakes on the way. Obviously, we all make mistakes, but I know I can do it, right? That was really helpful, right at the beginning. If I had failed, or probably did a bit worse than I did in that job, probably my career would have been different, right?
I remember when I got into contact with a bigger businessman at the beginning of my career. And for me, he was like on top of the world, because he was sort of like my role model. And I exchanged the contact details. We talked a little bit at this university club, and I wanted to offer him something. But at first I was so afraid to offer him what I had to offer, because he would be my third client I ever had, and it was such a big company for me that I thought I won't be able to do this. I had so many self-doubts. But then I just decided, let's go, let's do it. Let's contact him, let's just ask him and see if he responds. And actually I got the deal, and that was also a big thing for me. So I think to just go out there, even if you think maybe I'm not able to do it, what happens if you're not able to do it? Then okay, then it's also fine. It's no problem. Nobody is successful from the start, and nobody knows everything from the start. But you can learn from this experience, and you can only get better. So I think that's very important, to put yourself out there and just try to use every opportunity that you get.
Yeah, all the time. I think that's a great learning. I know it's a very common sense to say, but you learn more from failures than from successes, and I think this is very true, right? Because when you fail, you have a lesson. You can do a retrospective, and you can understand, and you can improve, 100%. Right? But if you don't even try it, you will never know. So essentially, you never have much to lose, right? Just to put you up there. It's more like you need to motivate yourself, right, to get there.
That's true. That's true. So you were talking about other moments in your career that you are particularly proud of. What other moments have you had?
Um, I think one of the things, it's always like spinning a little bit, like how you also turn some challenges into some opportunities, right? And I think one of those moments, like a big challenge that you have, and you need to do something out of it, was when I joined the e-commerce business, and I ended up having a double role. So one side leading promotion for the B2C, which was a consolidated business doing, I don't know, more than 1 billion in revenues a year, which was great. But then I also had to start the same approach, but for the whole marketing department for B2B, which was a very, very small segment, like very small, like in basically just starting, like doing a website, etc., and getting up to it. And that was that was very challenging, right? Because obviously you have to deliver, but it's not a big segment of the business, so you don't have resources basically, and you don't have budget. So what do you do? And um, and that's very interesting, I think, because that's how you make the most out of challenge. Because when you have very limited resources, very limited budget, you really need to make the right choices. So they really make you question, not even twice, but even 3 times, anything that you want to do, and you manage to make the most of it, instead of those cases when you have like more than enough budget and then you just end up splashing it, right? And I think that was like actually in the end one of my favorite projects, because I managed to get to know a lot of people around the business, convince them that to invest their time into this into B2B marketing, let's say. And believe it or not, at the end of the day, after 1 year, we got a team like of not fully dedicated resources because we didn't have the capacity there, but in general, more than 20 people were contributing towards that. And at the end of the day, we managed to grow the business like sixfold, like in 12 months. Wow. Without resources, without doing anything too fancy, but being like down to the point, doing the essential. And we managed to, like, so at the end of the day, was a great success, and everyone was so happy and so motivated about that, in that they really found some purpose and something that they like to do, even though it was on top of their already busy schedule, right? So that was something like very unique, I think. But at the beginning, it was a bit challenging, obviously.
Definitely. Sam Ovens calls this approach a gun-to-head marketing. Like you have one choice, and this choice has to work, otherwise the trigger is pulled. And what type of campaign did you have that worked so well for you? What type of campaign was it?
In that case, right? What we did, I mean, I think the key thing was that it was a twofold approach, right? So in the first place, obviously, we were lucky enough that at our back we got a very successful B2C business with a very big assortment, right? So I think the key thing that we say, let's piggyback as much as we can from our already existing business. And then what we tried to do was to personalize the experience as much as possible towards our audience. Because in the company that I was working there, our catalog was huge. We had like more than 1 million products in our website, which is insane, right? Like, it's basically everything you can think of that you got in your house, it was there. But when you're talking about B2B customer, it's a completely different market, because it's not like the everyday person like me. One day I might want a table, the day after I might want a bed. When you talk to B2B in the furnishing business, you're talking to office space, office managers, you're talking to hotels, you're talking to contractors, like people that actually make renovation, you're talking to interior designers. So a lot of the work was actually not changing too much from a communication perspective. Obviously, we tweaked some stuff to make sure that the tone of voice and those things were more customized for business customers. But it was more about the personalization of the experience, trying to create some sub-selection of products that would actually fit with our customer personas and with those segments. so that those people won't get lost on our website. They will understand that we had the right product for them, and it would be easier for them to get them. And that was a key element that made us successful at that point. Because people were really resonating with it. It was like, okay, this website actually got what I need, and I feel like they know me, something like that, right? And that was very important. And we managed to do that with very little budget, but with some analytical resources, obviously. So and very little changes into the website design and things like that. Mostly like SQL and Excel, honestly.
So how did you find out about that, what they wanted and needed the most?
Well, yeah, and then I think we got some. We got two ways, right? We got the B2B business wasn't existing in Europe, but we got it in the US. So we knew a little bit how the customer were there, and then obviously there was a lot of market research. Basically, we started looking at our website to see like if some maybe of the customer that were actually buying in our B2C website was actually businesses, right? And that's easy to see when you have a customer, for instance, that I don't know, buys like 500 chairs. Who needs 500 chairs, right, in their house? So it doesn't matter how big your house is, but you need it, right?
Yeah.
And then once we found out these people, we started, we tried to interview them, like to give them some incentives to tell us some insights. What were they looking for? And that's how conducting customer interviews, we came to the realization, okay, we need this, then that customer segments. Those are the people that naturally already come to our website. And how can we target them more? How can we influence our strategy in actually tailoring our assortment towards those customers before we go to other categories, right? So it was like a lot of scraping, a lot of research there. But again, you might say the first and most important thing is to know your customer, right? So that's where we started. And then everything else comes after.
So you incentivize them, for example, with the coupon codes for the next purchase or something like that.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we for B2B customer, we started doing in different pricing as well. To say, as you're a business, you have a different pricing compared to a residential, to a domestic user, because you buy in bulk, things like that, business graded products, etc., etc.
I understand.
Yeah.
So on the other side, what has been your biggest challenge that you had to overcome?
Yeah, I think that would be it, right? Because creating this team from scratch was quite a task. When not only the people that I was trying to engage to work on this had other job, but I also had a job on the other side on the day-to-day business, which was doing promotions for B2C, which can be quite busy, especially in some periods of the year. So definitely I would say that one. But yeah, challenge, but also very rewarding, I would say.
Definitely. So what is your biggest challenge at the moment?
At the moment, I think I can give a very generic answer on this one. I think my challenge is the challenge that every e-commerce has, which is basically how can I, especially when you're on promotion, discount, and sales, how can you actually increase and maximize, let's say, your ROI, your return on investment, when you give promotional discount, given, let's say, your euro spent, right? How can you become more and more efficient with that? It's all a matter of that, I think, these days. And that's a big question, right? Because I mean, you need to really understand and get a more and more understanding about your customers, about how to give them the right offers at the right time, how to personalize your offer for them, and how actually to try to drive value that doesn't stop just at a single transaction level. Because of course you can do like a lot of sales in the short term if you do that, if you increase your budget. But what is really important, obviously, is the customer
retention,
lifetime value and retention. Yes, of course. So it's quite tricky, but I think that's the industry, right? I think everyone that works in e-commerce will give you a similar answer, I suppose. That's really what we do every day.
That's true. But I see that you do a lot of good stuff on your website. I saw that you have some bundle offers on your website to increase the AOV. I saw that you try to increase the retention to via abonnements, right? You do some email marketing probably, right?
Yes, a lot of stuff.
What are your biggest challenges within that type of increasing your CLV? What's not what type
Mm.
of levers would you want to uh, be better or perform better?
Yeah. Well, I think that you can look at it from many different angles, right? I think one of the things that not just in my company but in general that we should aim at doing, obviously, retaining customers is very important, right? Because those are the customers that they give you a lot of value, and you already acquired them. But while doing so, it's not just about retention. I think it's about which strategy you can have to expand the bucket size, right? So increase the customer lifetime value and increase the average order value that they do. Because especially in a business like a pet industry, a lot of customers are recurrent and they will keep on buying the same things because obviously pets need to eat, right? So they need food. So every once in a while they will come and you will buy food. So the big question there is how can I incentivize a customer to actually expand their basket and buy some other things? How can I sell them a snack? How can I sell them an accessory or something like that, right? So those are the things, those are the strategies I think that I think in general, you can never be perfect. You can always do something more, right? Where you
Definitely,
should be focusing.
definitely. You can always improve. You can always improve.
Absolutely.
So, what makes a marketing campaign successful for you?
Mm. That's a complex answer, right? Because I think marketing campaign is a lot of different elements. It's like chemistry there, right? I think when you do one of those, it's a combination of factors. I think the first one, obviously, to have like the right product selection, so you have the right assortment, and that needs to be relevant for your customers, right? Because it's not just that you got big discounts on products that nobody cares about, right? So it's the right product for the right customer, and then you need to do it at the right time because timing is important. It's one of the most important factors. Then also, it's product, it's time. It needs to be activated through the right marketing channels. So you need to use the right channels, and you need to target the right audience. There's a combination of everything, I think, and it's very hard to get all those things at the same time working, right?
That's true. That's true. So, are there particular marketing channels that you love to use? For example, search or let's say social media. What type of channels do you prefer in your own marketing strategies?
Yeah, I think I really like. I think I really like, and I think we should do a lot more on social media because that's also like what also like third party suppliers and everything like really like because I think those channels really help you to reach out to a very wide audience, but you can obviously target it, and those are very important to create a certain idea of your brand, right? A certain brand identity, which if you don't use those channels, you will never get, right? So that's your chance to talk to a different audience, to a new audience, and actually also acquire customers. While obviously the more traditional channels like on site, like your own website or newsletters or push notification, etc., you always keep on addressing like your same audience, which you need to be engaging and everything. But I think where you really have the chance to stand out is when you go outside there, and especially on social. I think that is like a huge chance to improve there when you make it become like very much more emotional. We are in industry like pet industry where you can really make things emotional because everyone loves pets, right? I guess, I
Definitely,
hope, right? You love pets, I hope, right?
definitely, definitely.
Of course.
No,
So
but I
you can
don't. I don't
really
like snakes. I don't like snakes, to be honest. This is the only pet I don't like.
makes it okay. But I think you really have the chance there to really experiment, get creative, get engaging. That's endless possibilities. I think like it's such an entertaining industry. You can do a lot of things. So I think we really should go into that route even more than we are at the moment.
And also, they are extremely favored by the social media algorithms. People love to
Of
watch.
course,
Love to watch
Who doesn't
animals.
love a nice dog or a nice cat, right?
Right, right. And I love your marketing approach on social media. I had a quick look at your Instagram
Mhm.
profile, and you're using those petfluencers for your marketing. So I think that's a good
Correct.
strategy.
Correct. You should see our office. We have a lot of cute dogs as well,
You
and a
do.
lot. Yeah, 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 yeah. I
That's
think
nice.
some of the ones that also we use for campaigns are the one from employees. So they're very, very, very engaged customers, I would say.
That's
Our
good.
pets.
That's
Yeah.
good. So, what do you think is the biggest mistake companies make in e-commerce right now?
Um, well, I think one of the mistakes, not just e-commerce, but in general, a company can do, it's when you start prioritizing a little bit too much on the short term, and you lose a bit sight of your business model, your sustainable growth for the future, right? Especially I think in e-commerce, it's very easy. At some point when you see like that, maybe in the short term things are going a bit slower or anything, to get a bit of frenzy and to say, okay, what can we do? What can we do? Right? Because it's a business that changes every day. You got numbers every day. You have KPIs too much on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly basis. And then sometimes they can make you take like some very short term decisions that actually harm you in the long run, right? So that's something that we always need to be careful, even though obviously there are a lot of conflicting interests, right? Because you also need to send a good message to the market, to your company, to shareholders, etc. So obviously you need to navigate some tough waters, but I think it's very important to keep in mind where you want to get, what do you stand for as a business, and to stay true to your values in that,
That,
even if it comes at some harm in the short term, because at the end of the day, steering the wheel in the long term will pay off in the end.
that's a good point. I see a lot of companies focusing too much on the front end and what they get back from the front end, trying to be profitable in their first interaction with their customers. But most of the times, you have to lose at the front end, or a lot of times you have to pay a
Mhm.
lot of money for the customer acquisition costs, right? But then if
Yeah,
you have a good email marketing on the back end, and you can sell more to your clients at the longer time, or you can have some new good better offers, you can be profitable and very very profitable in the long term. um,
yeah,
s-
absolutely, absolutely.
I see this mistake a lot. So
It happens.
where do you think companies should invest their promotional budget into?
Well, I think coming back to what I just said before, I think they should be focusing on things that drive value in the medium long term, right? So I think we should invest obviously, yeah, in new customer acquisition, but on a way to actually then keep those customers, right? So acquisition and retention, and one of the key things there, it's loyalty, right? I mean, because that's more important than giving some one-off discounts that expires tomorrow. Basically, what does it give it to you, right? It gives you an order, but it doesn't give you a customer. Whereas like investing a lot of loyalty, keeping the customer, right, in the future, giving them, making customers that you already have acquired that are with you like more loyal, and making them feel like that you're treating them that really really adds in the long term. And obviously on the other side, it's personalization. I think customers right now are becoming more and more aware. They have so many choices when they want to shop online, that if you really don't show them that you know them, and then you can give them the right things, at some point you're gonna lose them, because otherwise it becomes just like a matter of price. And I think there are so many things out there outside of price that you can do to actually personalize your offer and add value to your customers, right? So loyalty and personalization definitely are two aspects where I think the investment should go.
And you use a loyalty program at Zooplus, right, uh,
We do.
to increase the loyalty of your customers, right?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of different propositions there, ranging from like ABO, so auto shipment proposition, where obviously you get some discount for recurring purchases. We have some saver plans. So like for our loyal customer, we give them some some incentives if they keep on shopping with us. We have bonus points, a lot of ways to reward customers, because we really believe that the dark customers are very important, right? So we try to find different ways to reward them and to keep them with us.
Definitely. Let's come to my last question. Is there a book you would recommend to the audience?
Oh, let me think for a sec, because there's a lot of books out there, right? And I must confess that I haven't been reading many big business books lately. So I think if I would recommend, probably the last book that I've been reading, like last month, and it's not business related. It's actually a travel diary or something like that. From an Italian actor, and the title is A Fortune Teller Told Me. It's from a guy. It's called Tiziano Terzani, who was like a reporter for actually the German newspaper Der Spiegel in Asia in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And what I really like about this book is that obviously it's a story about himself, like he's documenting his traveling around Asia, and obviously for his profession he needs to travel from place to place, and the whole concept of the book is that when he was traveling through Asia in the 70s, he met, by chance, he wasn't looking for it, a fortune teller that he told him that in the year 1993, he should have avoided taking flights because he would risk his life and he might even die on a plane. And obviously, I mean, he's very skeptical, right? He doesn't believe about these things or anything, but a little bit by to try something new, I think he decides that actually he will fulfill that prophecy and he won't take any planes for the full year in 1993, which you can imagine that being a reporter that needs to travel, from India, Thailand, Japan, China, whatever, it's a bit challenging because the distances are big, right?
Yeah.
But yet, he decides, and in agreement with his employer, obviously, he decides to go along with it, and he spends 1 year traveling through Asia without taking planes. And you can imagine how long those trips were taking, because it takes boats, it takes cars, buses, trains, whatever. But I think, and he makes amazing adventures, right? Because I mean, I think Asia in the 90s it still is. It's an amazing continent to explore and to see. So I think the message that I really like and I wanted to take out of it is that, especially I think it's very valid nowadays when we have like our lives are so busy and we have 1,000 things to do every day. We always go fast from left to right. And so I think the advice would be that, sometimes we should slow down, I think, and take more time to do things, or actually take the time that is necessary to do things, right? So today we multitask all the time. We do 700,000 things at the same time. I think we should dedicate more time doing less, but doing it better, and try to explore more as well, because that's a lot of details, a lot of things that we are missing right now that we could see more, like if we were taking a different approach.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, totally recommended as a book.
Perfect. I will put it in the description of the video. And Daniele, thank you for taking this interview. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure was mine, Noah. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome.